Hello, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. In this week's edition of our podcast, we're going to be discussing some of the more recently released Echo devices that were announced this past fall of 2020. We know there'll be sales and different things going on, so you might be looking at some of these devices. And if there were any major changes or the like, we thought we'd bring them to your attention just so that you might be aware of those. And so we'll be discussing that in this episode. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of those details, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by the New Vision program at Goodwill. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission services help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello, welcome back to the Echo Tips podcast. It's a pleasure to have you with us here again. As I mentioned formerly, we're going to be dealing with some of the new Echo devices that were released this past fall of 2020. Maybe you'd be like, well, I want to buy this, or maybe last year's model, but if there's anything really particular that maybe might jump out at you and you're looking at sales and things like that, I just thought we'd bring some of those points to the fore. And it won't be an exhaustive study, so please continue to do your own research, but just some things that jumped out at me having been following this for a long time. Now, if you're a new listener, we'd like to welcome you. My name is David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, here based in southwestern Virginia, where we have a training center in Roanoke, and hopefully Pre-pandemic, we had workshops and stuff we'd conduct in other locations, such as the NRV and the like, but and hopefully we will again soon as we get past COVID. But anywho, we'd like to welcome you. We just deal with bite-sized nuggets of an educational nature about the Echo. And for those that have been listening for some time, we really appreciate you as well. Please feel free to share episodes that you like on Facebook. Like us, tweet us, whatever, and we really appreciate that. And you're welcome to try and reach out to us as well on Facebook or Twitter at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys with any thoughts or questions or topics you'd like to have us discuss in the future. Okay, so let's dive right into our topic, and I'm probably going to throw the A-Lady name around a little bit, so if you do have an echo in your room that might hear me making those statements and you don't want me to trigger your echo, you might want to shut its ears off if you have the chance. I know I've done that with my one here in the classroom right now where I'm recording this. But so what can we tell you about some of the new devices? Well, the typical, just to kind of cover the devices as a whole for those who may not be familiar. You have your very low-level, entry-level devices that have been released for a number of years called the Echo Dot line. So we have first, second, third, and now the fourth generation of those devices. And they've all hovered around the same price point of roughly $49 and whatever it is, 99 cents, basically $50. Now, you can routinely often find those on sale and maybe as little as $30, so they're pretty cool. And they've just been a really great value. I mean, a real loss leader for Amazon, but great for us as consumers, so they're really wonderful. Historically, they typically had a headphone jack on them, so you could plug them up to other devices and headphones and the like. Of course, you could connect Bluetooth headphones to them as well. I'm not too sure if the newest one does. I should have checked that, but feel free to check that. The form factor has changed a little bit over the years. It was just kind of a hockey puck. Then it kind of got a wider hockey puck with a cloth cover. I will tell you the sound has incrementally increased. I mean, maybe not incremental is the right word. It really has increased over time. and I can't wait to hear this new model that has been released. But the form factor has changed. The new one looks kind of like a half circle, kind of like a dome shape now, kind of like a large pastry or something like that. But I know the last edition, the base and things were just phenomenal. I have one that I use at home all the time. Okay, so let's move on to the ones that I really wanted to talk about and some new things. So there's been these incremental changes. The dots, you have the typical Echo, which started off as kind of a Pringle can sized device and has shrunken. And you occasionally would have something like, I can't remember the exact nomenclature, but the Echo Pro, which was more geared towards home automation. You'll find a lot of the Echoes now, I think, the typical, the new version of the Pringle can, if you will. And I don't remember what the form factor looks like now. I think it is also a similar kind of a cloth fabric, large kind of dome thing. They're starting to integrate those Zigbee and similar things. I've noticed that Wi-Fi 6 on the new shows is available as well, if that's a concern for maybe you have a lot of different smart devices in your home. That might be something to consider. I think the chief device I want to talk about, because most of these seem incremental, maybe slight adjustments, is I want to talk about one of the new Echo shows, which I think is really kind of interesting. Everything else has been kind of incremental, maybe slightly different quality of camera, slightly different picture, certainly the audio just continues to increase. But in the Echo Show line, we've had an 8-inch, we've had a 10-inch. I've had both of those in the classroom. My parents, I got them one of the 5-inch models. And you have certain accessibility features that have slowly trickled down to some of those, such as the show and tell feature, where a blind person could even scan a grocery item. Some things like that not everybody knows about. But the newest one, I think, is really kind of cool. It hasn't been released. They do, and it's terribly confusing to find on Amazon's website. The keyword I had to use to search for it was Echo Show 10 Motion. So it is confusing because there is still a 10 that's being sold as the second generation, and it's at a price point around $229. Now that one can currently be delivered. This one, as of here in November, has not shipped yet. At least not to general consumers. Maybe some journalists and the like have it. But this one's called, if you do the keyword search, Echo Show 10 Motion, you'll come up with this model. It's slightly more expensive, I think roughly $20, $30. I think it's around the $249 price point, which historically is where the Echo Show has typically hovered, unless you were getting one of the smaller ones. Now, just for those that are unfamiliar with these devices, these are the ones that have an additional touchscreen interface and cameras, which have inherently always given them video conferencing call capability with other Echo devices or people that had the app on their phone or tablet. And as all the way back to maybe season 1 or 2 of this podcast, we even discussed Skype. And Zoom, one of the world's most popular teleconferencing video softwares, especially under coronavirus, has also announced that they're working on developing skills. So hopefully that all of that will trickle down to these line of Echoes, and we'll use the full feature set, especially this new thing that I'm going to be talking about today. And this new thing really is that this extra expense for this Echo, which really isn't extra, it's really pretty much the same price point as it historically has been, is it has a little motor stand on it. And it allows it to pivot and do facial or human being tracking, basically. Now, there's a lot of information on the website here on Amazon's site about the privacy and things like that. At its core, it's just trying to auto-detect somebody, and then it uses the motors to pivot the screen so that it keeps you in view. Well, why might that be particularly useful? Well, I mean, it'd be great for video conferencing and the like. Maybe if you're standing up in a kitchen or you're moving around, it will keep you in frame, which is pretty cool. Now, I occasionally work with, in fact, that's my day job. I work with the blind and visually impaired, and so that might be great for them too, because they can't really, maybe perhaps without any additional accessibility tool, get themselves properly framed in a picture, but the thing could automatically do that. So that's a potential advantage. It's just really cool, a really practical thing. And not only that, if you're looking at the screen, and you can see the screen, you're looking at the screen. If the screen was tilted the other way, or there was a reflection off the side, or something like that, or was completely turned in the opposite direction. Maybe think of an island in a kitchen or something, and you have it positioned in one direction. It can now pivot to keep track of you and keep you in view. Maybe especially if you're looking at it, gives examples of like, show me a brownies recipe or something, and the thing pivots around to show you while you're working in the kitchen. Maybe you got maybe a mixing bowl out and things like that. Also, of course, with video conferencing, as I mentioned, would be the greatest thing. Other things I think it highlights is potentially TV shows or other things. Maybe where you want to, you're walking around, you're trying to just maybe watch the news while you're fixing dinner. That will continue to, display in your direction. So I just think it's kind of a nifty device. I haven't seen one in person yet, haven't seen any hands-on reviews, but it might be definitely something to keep track of. And it's a nominal additional expense on top of it. And especially if it ends up working with Zoom, I could see this being a real player. And maybe even Microsoft Teams and the like. So just really, really kind of neat in that context. So anywho, so that's the basics of that. Of course, this device also has, I think, that Zigbee home automation built in. It supports Wi-Fi 6, a few of those other things. It has a much higher quality video camera on it and things like that. So anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Thought that'd be kind of cool. I couldn't quite determine from looking at the site whether it can additionally pivot up and down. Obviously, it can swivel left and right or pan. I couldn't quite figure out if there's some sort of automated pitch adjustment, or if you just had to manually change maybe the pitch adjustment. I would imagine it's either fixed, in other words, it's unchangeable, or you can maybe just manually pitch it up or down. Now, all of that having been said, there are a number of stands, adjustable stands, wall mounts, and the like, made for the Echo Show 5, the Echo Show 8, probably for the 10, because they still do make a regular 10-inch one that doesn't have this base. And so that might exist as well. So look that up, Amazon Echo Show 10, and also look for the word motion. It'll be in the name. And I think it also listed as third. Yes, it does. It listed as third generation. All right, so that was just a brief synopsis of some of the things that jumped out at me from the recent Echo announcements, but there's always a lot of other things going on there, so I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. All right, well, if you'd like to continue to support our show, we really appreciate you liking us on Facebook, or reposting us on Facebook, or tweeting about our episodes. If you'd like to look into sponsorship opportunities for our podcast, you're welcome to contact our development team at development@goodwillvalleys.com, or you're welcome to reach out to me as the host of the show at dward@goodwillvalleys.com. Well, I just hope that you learned some interesting things. I also like to share out a friend of the podcast out of Britain, Robin, who does the Dot to Dot podcast. He does a lot of really cool things with that. Has recently started a new show too called The Echo Show. And he does some cool stuff too. All right, well, it's time to turn the ears back on your Echoes in your home. Start practicing some of the many things that you've learned here, or go look it up in your web browser of choice. We thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. In conclusion, let me tell you a thing or two. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and it is also made possible in part by a grant from Community Foundation serving Western Virginia. And there's more. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. For more information, check out our website at goodwillvalleys.com/newvision, with no spaces. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission programs help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Thanks for listening.